This one kitchen cabinet made me dread cooking. Every time I opened it, things tumbled out, plastic lids without bottoms, gadgets I hadn't touched in years, and enough clutter to make me want to shut the door and walk away. But here's the truth. Clutter doesn't just take up space. It takes up energy, focus, and joy. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how I turned that overwhelming mess into the most peaceful corner of my home, using a method that's simple, satisfying, and perfect for anyone who wants a kitchen that truly works for them. And because life after 60 often brings big changes, I'll also share a personal moving update, how I'm learning to let go of what no longer serves me, and how you can, too. If you've been craving less chaos and more calm in your daily routine, this is the perfect place to start. If you've ever walked into your kitchen and felt instantly tired, you're not alone. The truth is, clutter weighs on us more than we realize. It's not just the stacks of dishes or the crowded drawers, it's the way they make us feel. As we get older, that weight feels even heavier. Bending, reaching, and sorting through piles of things we don't even use anymore can leave us frustrated before we've even started cooking. Sometimes it even feels unsafe, like when you're digging through a crowded shelf and something nearly falls. But here's the good news. Clearing the clutter isn't about having a picture-perfect kitchen. It's about creating a space that supports you. A kitchen that feels simple, safe, and joyful to use. When we let go of what we don't need, we're not just freeing up a shelf, we're freeing our minds, our energy, and our time for what truly matters. Today, I'm tackling the heart of the home, the kitchen. It's the one place we use every single day, and yet it's often where clutter sneaks in the fastest. A crowded counter or a messy cabinet can make even the simplest meal feel like a chore. But it doesn't have to be that way. In less than 20 minutes, I'll walk you through a step-by-step process to declutter, clean, and organize your kitchen in a way that feels simple, satisfying, and especially doable as we get older. No marathon cleaning sessions, no complicated systems, just easy changes that make your space safer, calmer, and more enjoyable to use. And because I know many of us are also facing life transitions, I'll be sharing my moving update too. Starting fresh can feel overwhelming at first, but it doesn't have to be scary. With the right mindset, it can be the most freeing and energizing step you take. Phase 1, the pullout. The very first step is the simplest, but also the most powerful. Everything has to come out. I know, it sounds overwhelming. You might be thinking, do I really need to empty the whole cabinet? But trust me, yes. Even that stack of plastic lids without bottoms. That old juicer you haven't touched in decades. And yes, even the mystery pot lid from the 80s. That somehow survived. Every kitchen clean out. Why do we do this? Because clutter hides in plain sight. When everything is tucked away behind doors, it's easy to tell ourselves it's not that bad. But when you pull it all out and place it on a counter or table, you suddenly see the truth. And seeing it clearly is the first step toward change. Here's something I want to stress. This isn't about judgment or shame. We all accumulate things over the years, sometimes out of habit, sometimes out of love, and sometimes simply because life gets busy and sorting it all feels like the least important task on the list. But when you give yourself permission to take everything out, you're giving yourself permission to start fresh. Now, here's a little secret. Pulling everything out can actually feel satisfying, almost like hitting a reset button. You get a chance to look at your space completely empty, and that alone can shift how you feel about it. Imagine opening that cabinet later, today, and not seeing a jumble of things shoved inside, but a clean, open space waiting for only the items you truly use and love. And here's where it gets fun, because when you start digging through the back corners of your cabinets, you'll almost always find surprises. Some of them might make you laugh. Others might bring back memories. I can't tell you how many times I've heard from people who found wedding china they hadn't touched in years, or a coffee mug from an old job, or in my case, a baking dish I thought I'd lost ages ago. Just the other day, I discovered a little spice jar tucked way at the back. So old it still had the price tag from a grocery store that doesn't even exist anymore. I hadn't seen it in years. And that's the beauty of this step. It turns into a mini time capsule. Some of these discoveries will remind you of good times, and others will make you wonder why you've been hanging on to something for so long. Either way, it gives you perspective. Now, I know some of you might be worried about the mess this creates. Yes, Pulling everything out does mean you'll have a pile on your counter or table. But that's only temporary. The mess you see right now is actually progress. It's proof that you're facing the clutter head on instead of letting it stay hidden. Think of it like spring cleaning for the soul. You have to stir things up before they settle into something better. If you're doing this along with me, here's a tip. Don't rush. Work in sections if you need to. If emptying an entire cabinet feels like too much, start with just one shelf. Pull everything from that shelf, look at it, and then move on to the next. The goal isn't speed, it's clarity. And while you're pulling things out, take a moment to notice how it feels. Do you feel lighter already? Maybe even a little excited about the idea of putting only the essentials back in? Or maybe you're feeling resistance, like part of you wants to shove everything back in and close the door. If that's the case, don't worry, you're not alone. That feeling is normal, and it's a sign that what you're doing really matters. Because here's the truth, clutter isn't just physical, it's emotional. Every dish, every gadget, every container carries a little piece of our history. By pulling it all out, you're not just clearing shelves. You're giving yourself the chance to make choices about what belongs in this next chapter of your life. So here's my challenge to you. As you go through this first step, be curious. Instead of asking, why do I still have this? Try asking, do I want this in my life moving forward? That simple shift in thinking can make the process feel less like letting go and more like choosing what to keep. And stay with me, because this is just the beginning. We've cleared the way to see everything, and what comes next is even more satisfying. In the next step, I'll show you a simple method to sort through these items quickly, without second-guessing yourself, and without all the guilt that usually comes with decluttering. And I'll also share a little story about one surprising item I found buried at the back of my own cabinet. The kind of thing you'll probably relate to, and maybe even smile about. So hang tight, because this journey is just getting good. Phase 2, the quick sort. Now that everything is out in the open, it's time for the part that makes the biggest difference, the sorting. And here's the good news. It doesn't have to be complicated. I like to keep it simple with what I call the 3-box method. 1 box for the things you use all the time, 1 box for the things you can donate, and 1 box for the things that are broken, expired, or just plain worn out. That's it. 3 simple choices. The first box is the keep box. These are the items you actually use in your day-to-day life. Think about what you reach for every week. Your favorite pan, the coffee mug you start every morning with, the sharp knife that makes chopping easy. If it makes your life smoother, safer, and more enjoyable, it belongs here. This isn't about keeping the most expensive things, it's about keeping the most useful things. Sometimes the dollar store spatula you use every day is far more valuable than the fancy gadget you haven't touched in years. The second box is the donate box. These are items that still work, but don't really serve you anymore. Maybe you've got 5 mixing bowls, but you really only ever use 2. Or maybe you have a set of glasses you haven't touched in a decade. If something is still in good shape, but just doesn't fit your lifestyle anymore, let someone else enjoy it. Donation is powerful because instead of feeling like you're losing something, you're giving it a second life. That bread maker collecting dust? Someone else might light up with joy to find it at a thrift shop. In this way, decluttering becomes an act of generosity. And then there's the third box, the toss box. This one is for the broken, the chipped, the expired, and the things you've held onto out of habit but know you'll never use. Old plastic containers without lids, spices that expired years ago, pans so scratched they're no longer safe. These items aren't serving you, and they certainly aren't serving anyone else. And here's where I want you to hear me clearly. You don't need to feel guilty about letting them go. You already got the use out of them. They did their job. Thank them for their service if you want, and then release them without regret. Now, I know this is the step where emotions can creep in. You might pick up an item and immediately feel a wave of memories. The casserole dish your mother used, the coffee pot you bought when your kids were little, the holiday platter that only comes out once a year. It's okay to pause here. Ask yourself, do I still use this? Does it make my life better today? If the answer is yes, it stays. If the answer is no, you're not dishonoring the memory by letting it go. You're simply making room for the life you're living now. And let's be honest, we all have those items that make us hesitate. That 4th spatula, those 6 identical serving spoons, the mismatched Tupperware you keep just in case. Here's a tip. If you've held on to something for years without using it, that's your answer. You don't need it. And by moving it out of your space, you're giving yourself the gift of simplicity. Another trick I like to use is what I call the future self test. Ask yourself, if I were moving tomorrow, would I pack this and take it with me? If the thought of hauling it to a new home feels exhausting, that's a clear sign it doesn't belong in your keep box. Now let's talk about pace. This isn't a race. Sorting doesn't have to be done in one sitting. If you feel yourself getting tired, stop after filling just one box. Even 10 minutes of sorting creates visible progress, and that progress builds momentum. Over time, the little choices add up to a big transformation. And I want to remind you of this. Sorting is about freedom, not perfection. You're not aiming for a magazine-worthy kitchen. You're aiming for a kitchen that works for you. One where you can reach for what you need without bending or digging. One where you know exactly where things belong. One where you can actually enjoy cooking again, instead of feeling weighed down before you even start. I can promise you this, when you stick to the 3-box method, decisions get easier. You don't have to overthink or argue with yourself about every single item. It's either useful, it's ready to bless someone else, or it's ready to be released. That's it. No guilt, just freedom. And here's the best part. When you're done, those boxes are more than just containers of stuff. They're containers of decisions that put you back in control of your space. Every item you keep is something that actively supports your life today. Every item you donate is a gift to someone else. And every item you toss is a weight lifted off your shoulders. So as you work through this sorting step, keep reminding yourself, you're not just decluttering a kitchen, you're creating a home that reflects who you are now and who you want to be moving forward. And that's something worth celebrating. Now stick with me, because in the next phase we're going to take all the items you decided to keep and give them a clean, fresh home. This is the moment where your kitchen really starts to transform, where the space begins to feel lighter, brighter, and more welcoming. And trust me, that part is deeply satisfying. Phase 3, the clean sweep. This is my favorite part, giving the shelves a true fresh start. Doesn't it already feel lighter? There's something almost magical about this step. For the first time in a long time, your shelves are completely empty, and that empty space is filled with possibility. It's like taking a deep breath after holding it for too long. Think about it. For years, crumbs, dust, and little spills have been hiding under piles of dishes and boxes. We live with it without even noticing. But when you clear everything out, you suddenly see what's been sitting there. And while some people might feel embarrassed by the mess, I see it as a sign of life. A lived-in kitchen will never be spotless all the time, and that's okay. What matters is giving yourself the gift of a fresh slate every once in a while. Now, here's the thing. This part doesn't take much time, but it has an outsized effect. A quick wipe down with a cloth. A little vacuuming if you've got crumbs tucked in the corners. Maybe even a spritz of something that smells good. In just a few minutes, the whole space feels renewed. It's not just about cleaning. It's about resetting your energy in the space. And here's something worth noticing. As we get older, clutter and dust can also affect our health. A sticky shelf or a layer of crumbs may seem small, but they can attract pests or even make it harder to keep track of what's safe to eat. By giving your shelves this clean sweep, you're not just making it look nicer, you're also making your kitchen safer and more supportive for you. But beyond safety, there's an emotional shift here. An empty, freshly wiped shelf feels like a blank page. It invites you to write a new story about how you want your kitchen to serve you from now on. Instead of being weighed down by the mess of the past, you're opening the door to something calmer and more intentional. And you don't need fancy tools to do this. A soft cloth, a gentle cleaner, maybe a handheld vacuum if you like. That's it. Keep it simple. In fact, this is a great time to use natural cleaners, something like vinegar and water, or a mild soap. They're easier on your lungs, your skin, and your space. Sometimes the simplest solutions really are the best. I also like to think of this step as a little act of self-care. You're not just cleaning for the sake of cleaning. You're creating a space that feels good to walk into. That makes cooking or even making a cup of tea a pleasure instead of a chore. When the shelves are fresh and ready, you'll notice a change in how you feel every time you open that cabinet door. Instead of bracing yourself for the chaos, you'll feel calm and in control. And here's a gentle reminder, don't rush this part. Take your time. Enjoy it. Sometimes we move so quickly through tasks that we miss the satisfaction of the moment. Run your hand across that smooth, clean shelf and actually notice the difference. Appreciate the progress you've already made. This is the reward for all the effort you put into the pull-out and the sorting. One thing I love about this step is how symbolic it feels. You're literally wiping away the past, old crumbs, old spills, old dust, and making room for something new. It's a reminder that no matter how long clutter has been sitting there, you always have the power to start fresh. At any age, in any season of life, we can give ourselves a clean slate. And if you're preparing for a move, like I am, this part can feel especially powerful. It's not just about leaving a clean cabinet behind. It's about practicing the habit of creating fresh space wherever you go. A clean shelf today makes it easier to pack tomorrow, and even more exciting to unpack into a new home with everything fresh and simplified. So as you finish this step, take a moment to stand back and look. Empty shelves, wiped down, smelling clean. It's like a quiet victory, a moment to celebrate. Because this is the turning point. From here on, everything you put back in will be intentional. Every item will earn its place. And that's when your kitchen starts to shift from a source of stress to a source of peace. Now, stay with me, because in the next phase, I'll show you how to organize in a way that's not only simple but sustainable, so your shelves stay this fresh and calm for the long run. Phase 4. Organize with ease. Now comes the part that makes all the effort worth it. Putting everything back in a way that feels simple, easy to maintain, and, most importantly, senior-friendly. Because let's be honest, if it's not easy to keep up, the clutter will creep back in before you know it. Here's my secret: clear bins and labels. It sounds almost too simple, but it changes everything. When your items are grouped in bins, they're not sliding all over the shelf. When the bins are clear, you can see exactly what's inside without bending, digging, or guessing. And when you add a label, even if it's just written on masking tape, you're telling yourself, this is where this belongs. That one step removes the decision-making later. No searching, no confusion, no frustration. Think about it. Instead of reaching into a messy pile of mismatched lids and containers, you slide out a bin and everything you need is right there. Instead of hunting for the cinnamon in the back of the cabinet, you spin a little turntable, yes, a lazy Susan, and there it is, ready to use. It's a game changer, especially for spices, oils, or condiments. You don't need to stretch your arm to the back or risk knocking something over. Just a simple spin and you're done. And here's the best part. This system is not about perfection, it's about ease. You don't have to organize by color or make everything look like a magazine spread. This is about function, not fuss. Group your items by how you actually use them. Keep everyday essentials within easy reach, and put special occasion items higher up or farther back. That way, your body doesn't have to strain every time. You want your morning coffee or your favorite pan. One of my favorite tricks is to create zones. A breakfast zone with coffee, tea, and mugs together. A cooking zone with oils, spices, and utensils nearby. A storage zone with containers and lids paired up, so you're not searching for matches. Zones keep your kitchen flowing smoothly, so you can cook without stopping to think about where things are. Now, I want to pause here, because this is more than just organizing. It's about creating a kitchen that supports your life today. Too often, we keep our kitchens set up for a version of ourselves that no longer exists. Maybe you used to cook for a big family, but now you only cook for two. Maybe you once hosted big gatherings, but now you prefer smaller, simpler meals. Your kitchen should reflect the season of life you're in, not the one you were in years ago. Organizing with ease means honoring who you are now, not who you used to be. And don't underestimate the emotional lift this gives. When everything has a place, you feel calmer. When you can reach what you need without bending or struggling, you feel safer. When your space is free of chaos, your mind feels free, too. That's the hidden gift of organization. It's not about the shelves. It's about how you feel when you walk into the room. Here's another little tip. If you struggle with remembering where you put things, labels are your best friend. A simple label saying baking supplies or snacks keeps you from second-guessing. It also helps anyone else who comes into your kitchen, family, friends, or caregivers, because they'll know exactly where things belong, too. That way, your system works not just for you, but for everyone around you. And if you're preparing for a move, like I am, organizing now makes the process so much smoother. When everything is grouped and labeled, packing is a breeze. You simply move the bin as it is. Unpacking on the other end becomes just as easy. Instead of opening random boxes of mixed items, you'll be placing ready-made zones right into your new cabinets. That's the kind of planning that makes moving feel manageable instead of overwhelming. I know some of you might be thinking, what if I can't keep it this way? And that's a fair worry. But here's the beauty of this system. Once things have a home, it actually takes less effort to maintain than it did to live in the mess. You're not fighting with piles, you're just sliding bins in and out. You're not wasting energy searching for what you need. You're using that energy to enjoy cooking, or maybe even to enjoy a peaceful cup of tea afterward. So, let's be clear, organizing isn't about being perfect. It's about creating a rhythm that supports you. Clear bins, labels, zones, and a few smart tools like a turntable. That's all it takes. Small, simple steps that add up to big changes in how you live each day. And here's your little teaser for what's next. I'm going to show you the one simple trick that keeps this cabinet organized for good. Because the real magic isn't just in getting organized, it's in staying organized. And I promise, it's easier than you think. This kitchen holds so many memories: family dinners, holiday gatherings, late-night snacks, even quiet mornings with coffee. For years, I thought keeping every dish, every spatula, every old gadget was the only way to hold on to those moments. But as I prepare for a move, I've realized something important. Memories don't live in the objects. They live in me. I don't need 5 spatulas to remember cooking with my kids. I don't need 3 blenders to recall family celebrations. What I really need now is a kitchen that supports the life I'm living today. A space that's lighter, safer, and easier to use. By letting go of the extras, I'm not losing those memories. I'm making room for new ones. And if you've been holding on to more than you truly need, maybe it's time to ask yourself, is this serving my life now? Or am I just keeping it out of habit? Yes, I'm moving soon. And instead of dreading it, I'm choosing to see it as an opportunity to simplify. Every box I pack feels lighter, not because I'm taking less, but because I know I'm only keeping what truly adds joy, ease, and comfort to my life right now. For years, I held on to things out of habit, or out of fear that letting go meant losing the memories tied to them. But I've learned that the memories stay, even when the stuff doesn't. If you've ever thought about downsizing, or moving to a smaller, more manageable space, I want you to hear this. It isn't about losing, it's about gaining. Gaining freedom, clarity, and peace of mind. It's about creating a home that fits the person you are today, not the clutter of yesterday. Moving can be a fresh start, and when we frame it that way, it becomes less of an ending and more of a beginning. And here it is, the after. The shelves are clear, every item has a home, and for the first time in a long time, there's actual room to breathe. No more digging, no more bending, no more frustration before I even start cooking. Instead, everything I need is easy to find and simple to reach. The best part? It doesn't just look better, it feels better. The stress that used to hit me the moment I opened this cabinet is gone, replaced by a sense of calm and ease. Cooking feels fun again, not like a chore. Even making a cup of tea feels different, because I'm not fighting with clutter. This isn't just an organized cabinet. It's peace of mind every time I step into the kitchen. And that's what decluttering is really about. Not perfection, but creating a space that supports your life today. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's the one spot in your kitchen that could use a quick declutter? Maybe it's that drawer full of gadgets, the shelf with mystery containers, or the spice rack that hasn't been touched in years. Share it in the comments below. I might feature it in an upcoming video. And your idea could help someone else, too. If this video gave you even a little motivation, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want more simple, stress-free ways to make life easier and lighter after 60, don't forget to subscribe. Each week, I'll share practical tips and gentle inspiration to help you create a home and a life that truly supports you.